Yeah, well, they claim that in the United States and in some other parts of the world, there's no liability for them. They're immune, they claim immunity, but there's no immunity from intentional infliction of harm. And this is what this is. This is intentional infliction of harm, malicious infliction of harm, as my colleagues here in Germany, plus our major legal advisor, Professor Schwab, have gathered from all the evidence that we now have. The most important thing to remember is that the most important result of the so-called Nuremberg trials, that was going after the main war criminals, but also after the doctors. The most important result is the idea, the notion of informed consent, because what happened during the Third Reich, all these medical experiments with what's his name, Dr. Mengele, that was not, people wanted this to never ever happen again. So this is informed consent. Informed consent means that a medical intervention is only legal if the patient consents, and the consent of the patient is only valid if he's fully informed before the medical intervention happens. In this particular case, this means that all of the people who got these shots should have been informed about, one, that this is not a vaccine, but rather an experimental gene therapy, because this has never, ever, ever been done before. And that there's no medical study underlying this. Normally it takes between 8 and 10 years, sometimes even longer, to develop a new drug or a new vaccine. And here they claim that within a year or so, they came up with these 3 or 4 major, or 5, I think, in the meantime, if you include the Russian one, vaccines. Now, in what you usually do in medical studies is you have this preclinical study, which is toxicology, etc. Then you have animal experiments, and then you go into phases 1, 2, and 3 of the human studies. And that's what's going on right now. There's no preclinical trials, I don't think. At least we know there's no toxicology. No animal testing was done. What we're seeing right now is human trials, but they're not really trials. This is an experiment, because the people who are participating don't know that this is an experiment. They have not been informed about this, and therefore they were not capable of actually giving valid consent to what's happening. They're the guinea pigs right now.
How much